Folks, welcome to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson coming to you from Kansas State University's College of Vet Med. Thanks for joining us today. It's going to be a fun show. We're going to talk about some things: hay, crop residues, standing corn, different things, different topics, just some odds and ends as we get ready for this fall and winter coming on.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com. This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan Thompson here. Thanks for joining me this morning on Doc Talk. It's a pleasure to be here. We're shooting this live at Kansas State University, and I am the Jones Professor of Production Medicine and Epidemiology, and also work as a practicing veterinarian in some of the feedlots in southwest Kansas, and we have a great time. I got two skulls up here. One is the sheep, one is the cow, and today we're going to talk about nutrition. And obviously, when we talk about some of the nutrition things, and we talk about whether it's hay or whether it's crop residues, as we have different areas of drought, we have to start thinking about ways of utilizing resources, or if we have wind-blown corn or things to that nature, how can we continue to use those as energy and protein for managing the cow herd? I think the first thing you have to understand is the physiology of the cow dictates what type of feed and how much that cow needs to maintain a body condition score. And a body condition score is about 7% of what that cow weighs. So if you have a 1,000-pound cow, to increase one body condition score, you have to put about 70 pounds on that cow. So if you have bigger cows, you take 0.07 times 1,500, that'll give you how many pounds you need to put on that cow to increase a body condition score, to get them from a 4 to a 5 or a 5 to a 6 or whatever, or likewise if we got to take it off. But when we start to think about that, that's the first thing, is just maintaining body condition score. The second one is that you need to understand the physiological state of the cow. There's a reason why the good Lord in Detroit have deer and sheep breed in the fall and have their fawns or lambs in the spring, is because the increasing growth of grass out in the pastures matches the physiological state of the animal. So the highest demand of energy for any cow is at the peak of lactation, or about 1 to 2 weeks after the calf is born, and we start to have that increased lactation. So lactation is a huge physiological drain on the animal. Gestation, the last trimester, the fetus and the cow require, the fetus requires more energy and protein during the last trimester than it does the first two combined. So understanding last trimester and lactation are times in which we have the largest physiological challenge or nutritional challenge of maintaining that cow's body condition score. And so that's when we need to have the highest amount of feed, and we need to have the highest amount of forage and possibly supplementation ready to roll. So coming into the end of summer, when we wean the calves, we take the calves off of the cow. The cow is bred. She's in that end of the first, beginning of the second trimester. We remove the stress of lactation. We move into the fall, when we're going to put those cows on corn stalks and things to that nature, is when we have kind of the lowest physiological stress, nutritionally speaking, on that cow. So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about hay, we'll talk a little bit about corn stalks, even some standing corn. Thanks for joining us.
Ag Promo Source is a unique group of marketing specialists with one mission: help your ag business grow. Each affiliate has their own area of expertise, and they work together to bring you advice, products, and services. To get started, visit agpromosource.com. Ag Promo Source. Together we grow.
Healthy cows start with the new hired hand automatic livestock sprayer. Rancher invented to provide an efficient alternative to pour-on and injectable parasite management systems. The portable design allows cattle to treat themselves head to hoof. Strategic device placement with pass-through activation technology takes the stress out of parasite treatment for cattle and the rancher, leaving more time to tend to other vital tasks on the farm. To learn more, visit cowsprayer.com. The new hired hand makes healthy cows easy.
As fourth-generation farmers themselves, Heinen Brothers Ag Service understands the risk and rewards of farming. So when it comes to quality aerial and ground application, fertilizer, ag chemicals, and anhydrous ammonia, call Heinen Brothers Ag today, 800-760-4964.
This segment brought to you by Santa Fe Trail Meats in Overbrook. Visit us online at sftmeats.com.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan from DocTalk here. Let's first just jump into talking about hay for your cows. And I'm not going to talk to you about how much to put out, and y'all know some of those types of things. But I think the two biggest things that I want to talk to you about in this segment is, one, making sure you test your hay. When we have times of drought, or we have times, we're going to wind up trying to just source hay wherever we can. And when you start sourcing hay, it's really important to understand what you're buying, because if you buy something that's low in crude protein and not very digestible, or if it's the year before's hay and not very digestible, or we have a lot of rain rot around the outside, it's important to understand what you're putting out there for those cows, because if it's not very digestible and it doesn't have a lot of crude protein, not very high in nutrients, then you're either going to have to supplement those cows, or you're going to go through a lot more hay. So understanding that you need to do some core tests on bales, work with your extension service, but do it now rather than later, so that when you truly get into feeding hay, you understand what it is that you have and what it is you need to be looking for to procure, because it's not going to be an easy year to just find hay anywhere. We're seeing a lot of it on the road. The second one is storing your hay. When we have big bales, a lot of the weather or rain rot or weather-related deterioration of bales occurs in the outside 4 to 8 inches, and everybody's like, well, it's just 4 to 8 inches of the bale. But if you have a 5-foot diameter bale, I want you to know that a third of the bale's volume is in the outside 4 inches, and half of the bale's volume is in the outside 8 inches. And if you aren't thinking about that, then that really wakes me up. But half of my bale's volume is in the outside 8 inches. So maintaining storage. Some of the things we do is some people will put down gravel or put ways to get the bales up off the ground so that we don't have rain rot on the bottom. Wrapping our bales, putting the bales under roof. I think there are even some things that we can spray on bales, like fat sources, that might help encapsulate the bale and cause water to run off. When we're going to stack bales outside, some of the things you want to make sure is that when we stack them, we put them end to end, and then we don't want, if you're going to make multiple rows, we don't want the sides of the bales to touch. We want to make sure that we have a foot or 18 inches between the rows. You can stack the big bales end to end, but we're going to put an 18-inch gap between them, because if you don't, snow will bridge up between the rows of the bales, and when that thaws, we get water runoff and we get rotting. So end to end, leave 2 to 3 foot between the rows, and that. If you're going to stack them, stacking bales, there's 2 ways that I've seen stacking. One is to just stack them in a pyramid, and we put the ones on the bottom, and then we go up, which is a great way. Or the Canadian method, and I don't know why the Canadians do it this way, but they stack the big bales on their end and then make a pyramid of bales on the side, as you can see in this picture. But anyway, make sure that you have your hay tested, and make sure that we have proper storage. If you're going to stack bales outside, you can stack them end to end, leave 2 to 3 foot between the rows so we don't get water bridging. We'll come back to DocTalk. We're going to talk about grazing corn stalks after this video.
I'm Rexanne Struve, veterinarian in Western Iowa. I have a veterinary clinic and started doing stem cell therapy on dogs in August of 2014. And after the first 2 dogs, after 3 weeks, I saw such dramatic results. I said, hey, I have arthritis. I have joints that really need this help. Where can I go to get this done? I had stem cell therapy done in November of 2014 on my finger joints, my hip, and the ball of my left foot, all of which I'd had real severe problems with. Saw a pretty dramatic improvement in a short amount of time. I would certainly recommend that somebody don't wait until I'm in the position that I was in with the damage already done to my joints. I encourage veterinarians to use it for their animals, and I encourage anybody who sees this video, if you have need, get in contact with these people, because this is a phenomenal place to have this done.
Did you know long-range planning through the checkoff can help keep your business profitable? To successfully pass on cattle operations from one generation to the next, it's important to promote beef and keep farms and ranches profitable. Your beef checkoff helps do that.
We're Durger's Cattle Company, cow-calf operation primarily, with a small replacement heifer operation. We started our operation in 2012, but we expanded on my father-in-law's operation, who started in the 70s, and built off his expertise and his knowledge, and have taken and grown it to what it is today. We span about 4 different counties in North and South Carolina, running about 1,000 acres with 350 roughly head of mama cows. My husband and I and my son and my father-in-law operate together. About 2 years ago, we decided to make the switch to become all-natural producers. And what that means is it's a certain standard of quality and life for not only the calves that become part of the food source and the meat itself, but the cows also. Beef checkoff is important for our operation in a twofold way. First is marketing, creating a customer for us. We sell directly to feedlots, but our end game is the consumer. We want to create a product for the consumer that they desire, that they want to go back to the supermarket or steakhouse and they want more beef. Everybody knows the slogan, beef is what's for dinner, but it falls even more than that in that they've raised consumer awareness in quality, which is important to us because we try to focus heavily on our genetics. That's a main component of our operation, and the checkoff has allowed us to do that by promoting a product that's important to the consumer, that it's good quality, it's safe, it's nutritious, and they're gonna want to be return customers.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, and we're glad to answer and work with you.
Hi, I'm Kim Mandarin with Hardy Insurance. I'm here to help you with all of your farm and ranch needs. When it comes to protecting your operation and your family, you need a name you can trust at a price you can afford. Call me today or visit hardyaviationins.com.
I'm Derek Sawyer, and I'm a fourth-generation Kansas farmer. I've known all my life I wanted to farm this land near McPherson, which was my grandfather's before me.
I'm Katie Sawyer, a journalist who never dreamed I'd live my life on the farm until I met Derek.
We've married our worlds to help educate consumers about the rural lifestyle and all that farmers do to provide safe and affordable food.
Watch our story and the stories of other young Kansas food producers at kansaslivingmagazine.com/meetafarmer.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Soybean Commission. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson here, and I'm going through some of my things as we prepare cows for fall and for winter. And one of the more underutilized things, I think, out there are grazing corn stalks or grazing crop residues. And corn stalks are able to sustain animals for about 90 days, okay, is generally speaking. So when we come into the fall and we wean calves and we think about that October time frame, you know, November, December, January, then we're thinking about moving those animals to the place that we're going to calve anyway. So it really can be a bridge, nutritionally speaking, between pulling those cows off of pasture, weaning those calves, and to the point in which we're going to bring those cattle into our calving pastures and things to that nature. But, you know, when we look at corn stalks, the first thing you think about is an animal unit month. And an animal unit month is defined as the amount of feed or the amount of acreage that is required to maintain a 1,000-pound animal, okay, for a month. Now, I know all of you have only 1,000-pound cows, and the only time we don't have 1,000-pound cows is when we weigh them, right? Everybody, honestly, you need to weigh your cows, just like you're going to test your bales. One of the things for precision nutrition and better understanding your supplement and the acres you need and maintaining body condition score is get an accurate weight on your cows. It's amazing how many 13, 14, 1,700-pound cows we have out there. But 1 acre of corn stalks will provide approximately 1.5 to 2 animal unit months of grazing, meaning that 1 acre of corn stalks can maintain 1 to 2 animals for a month. If we're going to graze corn stalks for 3 months, then you need to calculate that how many cows you have, how much they weigh, to determine that we would have 3 months worth of units to maintain that cow herd. So if you have 1,500-pound cows, what we're saying is if an acre of corn stalks provides 1.5 animal units per month, a 1,500-pound cow sustained for 3 months on corn stalks needs 3 acres, okay? So 1 acre per month per 1,500 pounds is a good rule of thumb. So the one thing we want to make sure is that it's best to graze the corn stalks closer to harvest because we get deterioration in the field. You never want to graze corn stalks in the spring if you harvest in the fall. Too much deterioration. Generally speaking, you can maintain cows on corn stalks for 70 to 90 days. And the first 30 days, there's enough grain out there that you don't need to supplement. However, after 30 days, you're probably going to have to work with your nutritionist and make sure you get a protein supplementation out there. That's it for corn stalks. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about grazing standing corn. You're watching DocTalk. Thanks for watching.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
Hey folks, Dr. Dan here. Welcome to our Cattle First Tip, as sponsored by Behringer Ingelheim Vetmedica. And today we're going to talk about pen floor conditions. Now, when I think about pen floor conditions in confinement, I'm thinking about one of two things. I'm thinking about too muddy or too hot. And specifically, when we talk about mud, we want to be able to control mud. We want to give cattle, we may not be able to control rain and control all the mud, but through building mounds and through making proper ways for water to escape the pens, we can make sure that these pens drain well, and we can make sure that cattle have a dry place to lay down and that they don't have to wade through mud to get to the feed bunk or the water tank or the place that they're going to bed. When it's 97 degrees outside, the pen floor is 137 degrees. So providing some sort of bedding, which is straw, even when pen floors are too hot, can provide comfort for calves to lay down and give them a cooler spot. We don't want pens too muddy. We don't want the pen floors too hot. This is your cattle first tip.
Fort Wallace was the fightingest fort in the West. Fossils, Indians, soldiers, scouts, wagons, trails, pioneers, stories. Discover the story of Fort Wallace and the people who served here, the people who fought here, the people who settled here. Wallace County, where the past is present.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply. This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook or Twitter.
Hey folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. It's been one of those shows, kind of moving you through, getting you thinking about different ways to feed your cows, and one of the questions we've gotten recently, and last year we had a lot of windstorms come through, and it bent corn over to where we couldn't harvest it, or it knocked ears of corn on the ground. And then this year with some of the rain, we've had people say, I'm not going to get into can I just graze out? I didn't have that good, I had drought and now it's wet, it's not that good of corn. Can I just turn the cows out and let them graze the corn? And the easy answer is no. Don't just turn them out into the pasture, into a full field, and let them just graze a cornfield with full ears on there, because we'll get acidosis and that. The other one is that if you've had a frost on that corn before it quit growing, you can get a prussic acid issue, which can cause toxicity issues in your cows. And so you can test for prussic acid, but once you have a freeze and a certain amount of time after that kind of danger can go away. Now, when we have standing corn, there are methods, and the University of Nebraska-Lincoln Extension Specialists designed a program to do what we call strip grazing of unpicked cornfields. And the first thing you need to do is kind of get an estimation of how many bushels of corn are there per acre. And that kind of gets us rolling. And if you think about it, what we do when you strip graze corn and you want to utilize standing corn or something that's not worth picking as standing corn to graze cows, what we do is no different than simulating the step up of feedlot steers from a roughage-based ration to a grain-based ration. So the first thing you're going to do in strip grazing is you're going to need to know the number of cows, and you can go to the website that is shown here for the University of Nebraska at Lincoln, and you're going to take hot wire and you're going to fence off a small portion of that standing cornfield. And we'll put the cows in that smaller portion based on the number of cows that you have, and we'll make them graze that down. They won't get as much corn as if they were just turned out and they just seek concentrate, because anybody that's been around cows and there's a corn pile here and there's grass here, you know what they're going to do to that corn pile. And so we put them in this smaller area with hot wire, and we make them graze it down, we make them eat the stalks, and so they're not getting as much grain, but they're starting to get grain into their rumen. They're starting to convert the rumen microbes. Then you just expand at 4 to 6 days, you expand the hot wire out. And then you go 7 to 10 days, you expand the hot wire out. And basically what you're doing is you're stepping those cattle up on grain using the hot wire. And then once you get to 20 or 21 days, then you can just turn them loose because they're acclimated. I hope you enjoyed the show. It's been a lot of fun putting it together for you. Remember to always work with your local veterinarian, and if you want to know more about what we do here at DocTalk, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson. Thanks for joining us today, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Ag Promo Source. Together we grow. Learn more at agpromosource.com.